Okay, so these chapters were good. I really liked them. I wrote down the dream list, the talents. I'm curious to hear. Oh, there's Sarah. Y'all's thoughts on that. So we'll just kind of do a similar. Obviously, we're going through more chapters. Hey, Sarah. Um, obviously, we're going through more chapters this week. So I'm going to try, I want to be conscious of the time so that we can, because I want everybody to share maybe some of the things on their dream list and the talents they feel like they have. I feel like those are really good. Really good things. So let's start with chapter 4. Page, page 22. The quote, there is massive power in self-awareness. Don't overlook it or underestimate it. It's not indulgence to spend some time reflecting on your life. In fact, it's foolish not to. I would consider myself very self-aware, but I know like some people were not. I tell a lot of people this, like my dad raised me to be extremely self-aware, like very self-aware of my feelings and like what's going on. But I know not everybody was raised that way or is self-aware. And I can't imagine my life any other way. But I'm curious, are any of you like not self-aware, or you've had to train yourself to be self-aware as an adult? Like you've not always been that way.
I've had to.
You've had to.
100%. Because, and your family kind of forced me to do it, friends.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like, I mean, I don't know the other way, but like training yourself to be self-aware as an adult, what do you feel like that's been?
Asking Mary or asking Candace, because I know Candace shook her head too.
You can answer.
I think I was raised by a mother who was very, you should read the room and be very aware of how others are feeling and then kind of bounce off of that so that you are acting. My mother was an officer's wife, so you're always on show, even your children. So I think that, and that's the old way. The new way, nowadays is totally different, which is amazing, and I love it. But prior to, it was a lot different. And so it was always read the room first and then really react with your feelings. So I think the biggest thing with me is I was fortunate enough to lead teams since I was probably 21. And that's honestly what trained me to be more self-aware, because I had to be more self-aware of myself and how I was feeling before I could lead other people to kind of work through how they were feeling to continue to perform at work.
Interesting. Or do you want to say anything or no?
What you said, Candace, about your family, is because I have like 7 siblings. I think it was more like, don't take up time or space or energy. Like you need to learn how to, it's kind of a mix. Like you need to learn how to deal with it yourself. But because there were so many of us, it was like, don't make it a big deal. Just continue living. Cause it's probably not that big of a deal. So the problem with that though, is I registered everything, how I was feeling was not a big deal. So then there's moments that, and then all of a sudden I would just start crying over something completely random. And it was like, wait a second, this is so, but it was normally something deeper than that. So it was almost the opposite extreme of like, yeah, just don't feel that. Nobody needs to know that. Is it really life or death? Because we don't really need to know about it. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's good to know. So, and reading the room, like 100% Candace, like I feel like I can go in the room and be like, okay, I know exactly how everyone in this room probably wants me to act. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, which is not, it can be good in some scenarios, good and not others.
Mostly not good.
Mostly not good. I mean, okay, it helps with certain things of what I do job-wise, but I mean, the problem is you kind of lose yourself in what other people think of you, and then you're like, wait a second, I need to have an identity of like who I am as well. So,
are you the oldest of your 7 siblings?
Oh no, I'm number 7 out of 8, so I'm a twin. So I'm a middle kid. So it's like there's a lot of layers to my family.
Yeah, I could totally relate to being more conscious of your siblings. I'm the oldest of 4.
Okay.
So
similar to Abby. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's like, there wasn't time for me to even feel anything other than what was acceptable. So I could totally relate to that.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's so true. Yeah. I also feel that too. And there was just certain stages of life where they were like, well, it's too late to feel that now. So might as well just grow up and feel the next thing. And I was like, So the problem is that at one age, I realized there's certain things I hadn't felt at like 17 to like 24 was probably when I started figuring that out. And I was like, oh, wait a second, that's a lot of different spaces.
A lot to separate and feel.
Yes, exactly. And it still comes out now and then, but I'm like, okay, but now I'm definitely way more aware. It depends on what's going on, but you could ask Gabby. I feel like I'm way more aware now than I was when I first met her.
Which is good. That's good.
Yeah.
Great. It's a great to be self-aware, and Bob Goff says it's great too.
Yes.
Okay, so the other big thing for me from chapter 4 that I really liked was making appointments for ourselves. I loved the story he told about the lady that literally goes to the dialysis clinic and parks in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And like, so it just kind of, I wrote next to that, like make appointments for ourselves, like whatever that looks like, reading our book, like going on a walk, like I carve out my exercising time, whatever. I think that looks different for everybody. Okay, so those were really and then I had the discovering who you really are and what makes you tick is worth the effort. Chapter 4 wasn't very long, but okay, so chapter 5, 28, page 28, figuring out where you are is a really big part of discovering who you really are right now. And I thought that was really interesting after what we said last week. Yeah. And so anyway, it gave some really good examples. And then page 29, where he says, be wise enough to stay optimistic while you're getting clear on where you are in your life. And he said, don't get punked by your past. It will lie to you, distract you, try to get your attention, and then laugh at you for looking. I was like, oh, that's good.
That really resonated with me. I think out of all the chapters, that one was the biggest.
Yes. Because it's so easy to get stuck like with what you did.
Yep.
They talked about that this weekend.
At church?
Yes.
Yeah.
They talked about that this weekend. I was like, wow. Okay, so then page 30, this was another really, really good one. I'm not camping out in my uncertainty. I'm figuring it out with God. That resonated with me. Just kind of as I shared last week, like I feel like I'm, kind of resettling down and figuring out my roots, and that can feel kind of uncertain, and I can often want to stay in the uncertainty camp and like want to waffle in how that feels. Mm-hmm. Did anybody else have any big things from chapter 4 or 5?
I had, where are you? Be courageous. That one I have
I liked that too.
Yeah, I can't really show it on camera, but I like highlighted it and then like bubbled it.
Yes. What page was that on?
29 at the very bottom.
Okay. Oh, where are you? Be courageous. Yeah, that's good.
Because I think it ties to the past thing where he's talking about, and I think a lot of time going forward, it's hard to be courageous about how you're feeling and where you are because you really consider a lot of yourself being to the past.
Yes. Yeah, that's good. Anybody else? If not, that's totally okay. Okay, so chapter 6, I actually highlighted a lot. Whoa, smokes, I highlighted a lot in here.
That's not surprising. What do you want?
Okay, page 32. Some of your ambitions are going to take time or a little creativity to figure out. Don't quit on them. Wake up to new ways to get there. Then do what it takes so you're ready when your time comes. And then I basically highlighted the same thing again. Your ambitions are worth all of your attention you're willing to give them. Be patient, get creative, give it time. If you can't buy the house, get on the waiting list for the slip. That story blew my mind. He's 2 dead people away from a freaking house in Hawaii. Like, I mean, I was just talking to somebody about this book this morning. I was like, Bob freaking Goff. Like, I want to be him. Like,
He doesn't really know any risks. It's pretty awesome. Like, he'll just be like, we'll figure that out. And you're like,
Glacier, where he was like talking about slipping down into the crack, and he was like, I don't remember what he said. He was like, oh, this looks really dangerous. Let's go. I was like,
He didn't know the person. I don't think he knew the person, right?
he didn't know the person. He did. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true. He didn't
I was
know
like, I don't think he knows who that is.
I'm like, so a Frenchman in Canada kisses you on the cheek and you're going to ride off with him to the glacier? I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I thought that was it. Anyway, that was total side note, but just very funny. Okay. So page 33, be real and it will be the most noble thing you'll do all year. Trust me, heaven will be doing cartwheels. It will if you finally get real about what you really want. Once again, the best engine to drive our ambitions is a strong sense of purpose. Page 34, don't settle for what you're simply able to do. Figure out what you were made to do and then do lots of that. I thought that was so good. I mean,
same one.
Holy smokes. Like if we were to poll people and say, because we could do a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
People can do a lot of different things and make it, but like doing what you were made to do, like walking out in your calling, that takes a whole nother set of courage and overcoming fear, because that usually comes with this whole bucket of uncertainty. And so I thought that was really good. And then as we get into the process of identifying and working towards your ambitions, don't be too hard on yourself. Okay. Going under the ice cap is hard work. It can get cold and lonely down there. Getting real is hard work too. And then a long time ago, a friend told me there's a difference between whittling and carving. One is just killing time and the other is laden with purpose. Keep carving. Engage the purpose. Don't stifle it. The process, excuse me, engage the process. And then I highlighted the part, or the page 34. Take a look at what Jesus had on his list of ambitions and lift a few onto yours. His list wasn't very long, but it changed the world forever. He was a master of choosing ambitions that were worth it. Which, okay, speaking of which, I wanted to pull up this. So I think all of you know, I work for my dad, my dad's company part-time. I don't know if you knew that, Candace. And I had to take they had us take a Clifton Strengths test in December. And I totally forgot about it. And I had the review for it with one of the HR guys today. And he had me read through using your God-given talents to glorify the Lord and serve others. And so he took me through, he had written this whole thing, and he's tying it all back to to scripture. God expects a return on your talents, on your talent. And I read this passage, which I'm sure you all know this story, but I had never looked at it this way, and it really applied to what we're going to talk about tonight, like our talents. In Matthew 25, with the master and he gave his servants the talents, each came, some of them went and returned it tenfold, another one put his in the ground, and the other one, I think it wasn't tenfold, it was like double fold or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I always thought of that as money. It never crossed my mind like talent as in being passionate, as in being driven. Like I looked at it, he went and like invested his money and like went and took his talents. Like I just thought that was like a currency thing. And so I was like, holy smokes, it like totally, it was like a light bulb. I was like, talents, taking my talents and using them tenfold. I'm like, am I the only one? I'm like, surely.
I never looked at it like talent.
I never looked at it that way. And I was like, oh my goodness. So that gave me a whole different perspective as like we talk about our talents and like what we think that those are. Because like, how can we, use what the talents God has given us, because all of our talents are different, and go and like you know, make, lead people to him and like put it back into the earth. And so anyway, I thought that was really interesting. And
That's awesome.
well, maybe interesting is the wrong word, but just kind of crazy. My mind was blown. Okay. So with our last 10 minutes, I know we didn't get to all the chapters, but I really do want to share from everybody to share.
I was wondering, I was like, oh gosh, 48. I was like, we would have to like talk super, super fast.
I
Just
know,
because I know
really
last week we like,
That was really quick. I don't know. Okay, so your dream list and your talents. That's really like, I think those would be cool things to share with everybody. So somebody want to go first? I can go first if not.
You go first, Abby.
I'll go first. Okay, so honestly, I should probably spend some more time on this dream list. Like I really kind of just did things off the top of my head, but when I was reading what he was writing, I was like, oh, this is good. Like go and serve at a homeless shelter, like little things that like are like, wow, that's really cool that I did that, like, so for me, go to Paris, travel Europe. I want to go to Greece. I do want to write a book. I want to speak. That's something I'm really, really passionate about. I want to give generously without having to even think about it. I want to be a reader. And I want to have a beautiful home, a family. I want to be a national marketing director. Have an incredible team of women, spend lots of time outdoors. And I want to take Zach to Gold Beach where I just was. So like, those were the things that came like right off the top of my head, but I really want to get, some of those things are much bigger picture, can't realistically, even with our life right now, happen. But I want to find like little things too, like little dreams that I want to accomplish. So anyway, that's my list. Sarah Winstead, you're up.
okay, so my twin and I were born. I kind of thought of it like as a bucket list. So like, mixes of kind of what you said too, friend.
Yeah.
My twin and I were born in Tunisia, North Africa. So for our 30th, I'm like 28 now, but for our 30th, I want to go there for our 30th, just because we don't remember it because we left when we were like 2. I want to shoot a wedding in a different country, like really bad. That's totally on my list. There's been a couple things I've been able to knock off. It's a photography bucket list, but that's like a huge one. Similar to what Abby said, I want to either like, I've been to so many of those, like those auctions and you have that like anonymous donor that donates like, $10,000, but I don't want credit for it. I just want to donate something like, but a huge amount to a cause that is close to me. And then, but I want to do it anonymously. Like, I don't want the credit for it. Like, I just want to do it. And they're like, who was that person? Like, it just kind of reminds me of like, Robin Hood or something. I want to go to this, what's it called? It's called the Rain Room in France. You go and like rain is falling all around you, but you don't get wet. I know this sounds really crazy, but it's like really, really beautiful. I look up like just different weird things in different countries. I don't know when we're going to be able to travel again. And I want to go to the Kentucky Derby. That's totally on my list.
That's on my list. That's a good
really, I want to but I want to do it right. Like I want to dress up. I want to have like a mint julep. I want to have the hat. I want to do the whole thing. I don't know if you all have seen The Wedding Planner, but I want to go to like one of those drive-in movies, like on a date. Those big ones at like the very end where they go and they're like, oh, that's so fun. So, I mean, really, I could probably like keep, but those are like the things off the top of my head. But
okay, awesome, I love it.
And then of course visit all 50 states. I'm pretty close, but
very cool.
Anyway,
okay, Sarah, Candace.
I'll let the other Sarah go because she hasn't gone yet.
Sarah, you can go.
Okay, I'll say a few. I haven't actually read 4 through 7 yet, so I did like 1 through 3 and part of 4.
No,
so I'll just say a few off the top of my head. I feel it's kind of more like bucket list than, since that's kind of what some of yours was. But one, like a big one, is like have a family. But 2 is like be able to give generously, so paying off all our debt. So that's not really an issue. And then like traveling to all 7 continents. I've been to 4, so 3 more.
that's awesome.
and then going to like different national parks is something that I want to do. I'm trying to think. I had like a 30 by 30 list, so I need to look back at that because I didn't complete it and I'm 30, but
Oh, that's super cute. That's really
yeah.
cute.
So I only knocked some of them out, but a lot of them are like travel. Trying to think.
I need to make a list like that. That's fun.
And so now like the rest of it'll just be kind of like a bucket list since I didn't.
Oh, Sarah, you've given me such dreams because I only have 2 more years. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah,
okay,
it was fun. Like some stuff we did, like buy a house. I got the car I wanted, got a puppy.
That's
so
cool.
Things like that. But yeah, I need to think on like big dreams, like I don't know, just in life. So that's a few things. Just
Oh, thanks for sharing. Okay, Candace, last certainly.
Oh gosh, well, I can't do 30 by 30. I can't even do 40 by 40 because I'm only 2 years from 40, unlike you guys who are young.
You look so much younger, Candace.
Yeah.
No.
I'm 38 as of July 19th. So
You never guessed.
I thought you were like 29, 30.
well, thank you. You're my new best friend.
I was like, oh,
She has an 11-year-old.
I haven't taken my
I didn't know that.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So no, I definitely can't do 40 by 40, but I do have some things. I actually did it was a service corps with my past job where we went to Mexico, and we worked in the factory where we actually taught worker well-being. So how to like balance a checkbook, how to take care of your kids, and how women can actually go to work, whereas it's hard for them to do that in Mexico. So I actually bonded with a family that they took me to their home. They fed me lunch, which they don't have money to even really feed themselves.
Wow.
And so it was one of those experiences where I still have dreams about it. It's like I've tried to keep in touch with the little girl that I met. So it's like I really want to go back there, and that is huge on my list to be able to go back and just see her and just see how she's doing and how she's growing, if she's getting the medical care that she should. So that's huge on my list. Other than that, my husband's leaving for a year to Korea in 2 weeks. So it's on my bucket list to go there in June with my 11-year-old. So fingers crossed COVID doesn't keep us in the States. That's huge. But then I think my biggest one, and Abby knows this, is I am pre-law. So I am going to apply to law school in about a year. So I'm hoping that I can get into the law school that I prefer, and I can actually graduate with my law degree to do public advocacy for people who just don't have a voice right now. So that is definitely on my bucket list. That's the biggest one. That's my nutshell, because we have like 3 minutes.
I know we're cutting. I'm like, geez, was so fast.
Yeah.
Candace, you need to make a bucket list with you and Aiden for while your husband's gone.
You know, he already has one. Yeah, and going to Paris Disney is one of them. So we're gonna we'll readdress that later.
Okay, I just have to finish this up really quick, and then everybody's gonna share one talent, but they're one talent that you feel like you have. So I go and I meet Candace and Aiden. And Aiden says to me, this is like still my favorite line ever. He's like, he introduced himself and he goes, so I hear you're the Juice Plus gal. And he says to me, he goes, are you the maker of Juice Plus?
That's awesome. That's awesome, Abby.
I'm not, but I really wish I was, because I'd be a freaking millionaire.
Dude, seriously, there's certain things that are designed. I'm like, man, I wish I designed that. That's so stupid, especially stupid
Really
things.
Abby did. Abby is like a celebrity. It's hilarious.
That's really funny.
It was so funny. I really wish I had caught it on video because it still makes me laugh. I talk about it to myself.
Are you the maker of Juice Plus? That's really great.
He lied to her for the rest of the time, so that was his shining moment.
So, okay. Anyway, I just had to share that funny story. Okay, talents. What's your like one talent? Like if you were to pick one, obviously you have more than one, but would you say is your like biggest one? I'll go first. I feel like I am passionate. That is something I am like, that's.
Oh, like we're thinking of like adjectives, not like.
Yeah. Like a talent, yeah, we're thinking in terms of like character, like what you feel like like kind of exactly what I was saying about the Bible verse.
I would say loyal.
Loyal. Okay.
No matter what, even if it hurts me, I'm still loyal. Could be a talent. Could be
talent. I know. I mean, anything out of moderation ends up not being.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Sarah.
I don't know why I'm having a hard time.
Quality.
Like,
talent.
I don't know why I was thinking about something completely different. I was like,
Oh, you were thinking like a physical talent.
I thought you were talking about like what you're good at, and I was like, oh yeah, we can all talk about that. But I feel like saying one, I'm like, that sounds arrogant though. Like I'm trying to think of one. Do you know what I mean?
Like a quality, like an adjective about yourself. Like, what are you? Sarah Thomas, you got something?
I don't really know either.
Okay,
I'm amazing.
I'm very engaging. Like I love.
That's great.
Super engaging. I love people, and like no matter how hard they are to talk to, especially the hard ones, I can get almost anybody to talk to me. Not that sounds like I'm like, hey, talk to me, but like I really do love people, and I'm very engaging like that.
I love that. Okay, Sarah Thomas.
I guess I would say, and it probably hasn't shown with me trying to do the Juice Plus business, but like driven or like dedicated.
You are driven and dedicated.
So like I'll stick with something if nothing else, or like I feel like remember things well. Like I'm going to take care of things, I guess.
I love that. Okay. It's 8:01. I gotta hop on. Okay. Bye guys.
Bye.